Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to recap 90 Day Fiancé episode 14 called Into Your Arms. I have recapped other episodes which will be in the eye, which will be down below. Well, some of them will be down below, but of course all of them will be on my channel. So go ahead and check that out and keep watching for my thoughts on episode 14. Okay, thanks. So first we have Ryan and Stephanie, which is now Stephanie and Harris, or Harris and Stephanie. So in episode 13, Stephanie had called Harris pretty much immediately after her and Ryan broke up and asked him to come to stay with her at the villa or apartment, whatever you want to call it, for a couple days, and he came. So this is the first day after, and he states that he slept on the couch. At first, I had to turn up I wasn't paying attention at first. I thought he said he slept on the porch, and I was like, oh my gosh, she really made him sleep on the porch. But no, he said couch. I just didn't catch it. And then she mentions how she is upset because Ryan's mom was reaching out to her trying to find out where Ryan is. And immediately I thought, wow, how the tides have turned, that a few episodes ago she would, before she came to Belize, she would constantly be texting and calling Ryan's mom when she couldn't go get a hold of him. And now that his mom's doing it, all of a sudden she's like annoyed about it. But Harris is ready, y'all. He even mentions that it's like his turn now. I'm like, ew. Like, is there gonna be like a whole line of family members just waiting to get, I don't know. But that's what he said. I didn't like that at all. Yeah. But I have to say, is Stephanie alright? Like, I know that this situation probably happens, but it's such a small country for it to happen in, and then she's like so nonchalant about the situation. Like, there are no other men in America, South America, Europe, the Caribbean, no other men except for these two that are for you. No other men. They're cousins. And they're cousins. So then I think at this point they went out to dinner, and she's like saying, oh, I can see a life with you, whatever. Like, girl, you were just saying that about Ryan. But I guess she invited him to like stay, you know, in her room type of situation. And so they're sitting on the bed in their robes, drinking champagne or wine, whatever they're drinking. And she like tells him, I need you to talk to my psychic first before I can even think about continuing this. And I'm like, what? They might as well give him the psychic like a credit or something, because it's like Stephanie has to consult her with everything. And he keeps, once he starts talking to the psychic, he is sweating bullets. I mean, like, have they zoomed in on that. They were messy for that, but they zoomed in and he was sweating bullets. And yeah, the psychic brings up the situation with the mother of his children, asking him, hey, are you guys really, really done? And he says, right now I am free. And I'm like, right now? What does that mean? Like, does that mean tomorrow or whenever you leave Stephanie that there's a possibility you can get back together with her? I mean, that's a little messy to me, but the whole situation is, so I can't really be surprised. And then, I don't know if it's Stephanie or Harris talks about them becoming fiancés. And I'm like, fiancés? Y'all just not met, but y'all just got together. And you were just trying to get a K1 visa approved for somebody else like 3 days ago. How are you already to the point where you're like, oh, I see a future with this person? I really need her to slow down. You should have enjoyed your vacation by yourself. Ain't no need to go call his cousin and get entangled with his cousin. It's just messy. And I think we all know it's messy. Everyone believes it's messy. But I guess next week we get to see them do more coupley things. I don't know. I'm over her at this point, and I think everyone is, but we shall see. Sorry, my brother's being loud. We shall see. Stay tuned for the next couple. Next one's favorite indecisive man. So 10 days out from the wedding, and they are both looking forward to the wedding. I mean, I have written several notes, like, because at each clip they're so excited, they're so excited, they're so excited. And then like the last 5 minutes maybe ish of this the episode, we see that it is their wedding day. Wedding day, okay? And she gets on the phone with the wedding officiant and says Mike changed his mind. Mike changed his mind. She ended up having like an anxiety attack, which is understandable because what is she supposed to do? She has like 3 days, maybe less than that, before her visa expires. So they waited until like the last minute to get married, okay? And he changed his mind the day of the wedding. And then on top of that, the borders are closed for the Ukraine, so she can't even get home by way of the airport, okay? How is she supposed to get home? Not just that, but she has to like flee pretty much the United States within the next couple days because, like she says, she's illegal. And then the wedding officiant has nerve. I mean, the wedding officiant doesn't know their business, but the wedding officiant goes, it doesn't mean that it's over just because you guys aren't getting married. How many times have you seen that someone calls off a wedding the day of the wedding and they still stay together after? I doubt that percentage is small. Y'all, she was devastated. And why wouldn't you? And it when she was packing up my stuff, it made me think of the moment during the season where she was like, I don't want to unpack my stuff. She should not have unpacked her stuff at this point. She was so excited to unpack her stuff, you know, once the whole closet situation got together and she got drawers. The minute she unpacked her stuff, not the minute, but a few days later, months later, things hit the fan. Also, Mike pretty much had 10 days of wanting to get married. 10 days he was excited to get married. And the other, how many days is that? 80 days he didn't want to get married. That should have been a sign right there. He was on the fence until about 10 days before, or let's say 15 days before her visa expired. So that should have been a sign right there that this man really did not want to get married because he was taking his sweet old time. Y'all, I feel bad for her. Like she said, my whole thing is it's COVID and Washington was hit first. So she has to fly through Washington's airport to go somewhere overseas to then find a way to the Ukraine. Ooh, that mic. It couldn't be me. Jovi and Yara. So Jovi is in the midst of his bachelor party. And Jovi literally says, I'm trying to be good. But next minute he's going upstairs with the dancer. Those two things don't mix together. If you're trying to be good, you shouldn't have stepped foot in the place. And then if you were really trying to be good, you should not have gone upstairs with her. Common sense. So he eventually gets home. And if you recall in episode 13, Yara told him he has like 2 hours, maybe 3 tops. And we see that he was supposed to be home at 11. Now, mind you, they're supposed to leave for Vegas at like 6 in the morning, something like that. And he still has not packed. As I was saying, Jovi's not packed. and they leave for Vegas in a few hours. Yara said be home at 11. Jovi comes in at 1:30 and turns on all the lights. You know how annoying it is that you're in the midst of sleep, in peaceful slumber, and someone comes in loud and starts turning on lights. It's like, why? Like, I get it, you had to pack, but why? And back to the whole club thing, he says, hopefully Yara wouldn't be upset. I hate it when people who are on reality television say, oh, I hope they won't, when they say like, oh, I hope they won't see this, or I hope they won't hear this. Sir, you're on a national television show. People are going to see this and hear this, especially your partner. So I'm not really sure how you thought that this would not get out. That makes no sense to me at all. National television. National television. Okay. But like I said, he came home late, turning on the lights, still needs to pack, and he climbs in bed with his dirty clothes. Ew. You were just out on the town for hours, in the club, going upstairs doing Lord knows what, and you're coming in and sitting on the bed with your dirty clothes? That's disgusting. Don't do that. You could have changed, hopped in the shower, do something. So later on we find out that, if you remember, Yara invited his mom as like a courtesy. And then Jovi turns around and invites his friends, and Yara obviously is not happy about that. She didn't want anyone there except for her and Jovi. So for her to say his mom could come, fine. But he invited his friends. Oh my gosh. Y'all, is Jovi ready for marriage and a child? Is he ready? Let me know down below if you feel like Jovi's ready, because it has been the same storyline consistently throughout, and we have not seen any change. So, is Jovi ready for this? Is he mature enough to leave? And what's so interesting now that I think about it is that Yara said she never saw any of this when they were together, like outside. And I guess that's true, because you're like presenting your best self, you're together for a couple weeks, however long, and then, you know, you leave. This has been like a semi-consistent basis, except when he leaves to work. So I guess he's really truly showing his true colors. But is Jovi ready for this? Let me know down below if you feel like he is, or if you feel like he isn't. Everyone wants to comment. Okay, so Rebecca and Ziad. I don't know why I wrote 60 days lockdown. Are they on a 60-day lockdown? Is that what's happening? I don't know. But my whole thing was, do you believe that them marrying 30 days sooner is too soon? I get it, but my other thing is that when you come to the US on a K-1 visa, your intention is to get married. Okay? You are telling the visa people that you are engaged and that you are going to get married. So while I understand that getting married 30 days sooner is a lot, you brought him over here. You brought Ziad over here because you said you were going to get married. So is getting married 30 days sooner really that big of a deal? Because you're still getting married, it's just sooner. You already told them that you were going to get married, and that was your intention. So timeline or not, what's the difference? You know, you brought him over here thinking that he was your one and only, that he was your, you know, true love, whatever. Marry him sooner because that's what you thought. I mean, I get they give you the timeline, but I'm saying, you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, is she overreacting to the situation? I guess I could see how you'd be blindsided, like, but she didn't really have a wedding planned in the beginning anyway. But what I'm trying to say is, she thought she was going to have this big wedding, like, at the end of the time, and now it's pushed up. And also, we found out that Ramadan is 12 days away. So, 12 days to plan a wedding. Anyone would stress. But my whole thing is, like he keeps saying, let's just go down to the courthouse and then have a bigger wedding. That's what I would do. That's what I want to do if I ever get married. And I'm like, Take me down to the courthouse. Let's have a reception like 5 years down the road. Maybe not 5, but I don't know if I could. I'd rather go on a really nice honeymoon. I don't know. That's what I say now, but I just couldn't. Well, let me tell you why. This is a diversion from the whole situation. But I would be afraid to walk down the aisle. Not to the person, but to people watching me. I feel like I would trip down the aisle, honestly. Or when we're doing our first dance, I would hate to dance in front of people. That would just be my thing of why I would rather go to a courthouse, because I feel like I would be anxious about people watching me, which is ironic because now I'm on YouTube and people can watch me, but that's a whole different thing. But yeah, that's why I would want to do a courthouse. I don't know, I always, and then when actually this is really far, but my best friend got married a year and a half ago, and I was terrified that I would trip down the aisle as I was walking down for because I was a bridesmaid. I was terrified I would trip down the aisle. The heels weren't even that big, but I don't wear heels on a day-to-day. Even if I get dressed up, I will throw on sneakers or boots before I ever wear heels. And luckily I didn't trip, but that was going through my mind, and I feel like if I ever got married, that's my fear, that I would trip down the aisle. And then also people watching me doing my first dance. Yeah. Anyway, back to Rebecca and Ziad. So, later on, Rebecca comes in and she lost her engagement ring, you guys. The beautiful ring that Ziad gave her when they were in the desert, she lost it. And she comes in looking for it. First of all, Ziad is playing video games, and she comes in and she's like, I need help, move, whatever. I get it, but Ziad did not seem to care at all. He was just like, oh, like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know where you put it. That was his whole, like, attitude to the thing. He's like, I don't know where you put it. How am I supposed to help you? That is kind of true, though. Well, no. Yeah, a little bit. Now that I'm thinking about it, this is another, I'm going on tangents here, but anytime I lose something, yes, like 2 out of 10 times somebody finds it for me, but usually it's me. Like, how are they going to know where you put it? Eventually it'll come back to you, or you'll spot it somewhere. But he just did not care. I don't know if maybe it didn't register what was happening because he was like in the middle of his game, but he didn't care that she was looking for the ring. I hope she finds it. That ring was pretty. I like unique rings. I'm saying this like I'm talking to my future husband. I'm very single. Anyway, I'm done with Rebecca and Ziad. So, Amira is in Serbia, and she said that COVID is rampant and people are rioting, which they did show like video footage of that. But then she says that she thought that that the hotel that they chose, that she wouldn't have to leave, that she could just order room service. Lo and behold, that is not true. So she has to leave the hotel to go get food, which is very dangerous. I mean, as soon as you walked out, I think you heard sirens. So, and then she says that Andrew is barely talking to her. What? And now that I think about it, I feel like once he found out she was safe, like he kind of did the same thing in Mexico. Like, she had mentioned that he never reached out to find out if she had landed safely back in France after they had deported her. And now, I guess because she's quote unquote safe in Serbia, he's not reaching out to find out how she is. I'm just like, I'm doing all of this for you and you can't reach out to me and find out how it's going? Andrew. Ugh. And okay, so they decide they have this discussion while she's in Serbia, while she's sitting in her room, about children. Because if you remember, Andrew had said that at first Amira was on board with kids, and then she changed her mind and said she didn't want kids. So they had this conversation about kids. which I think is important because I heard, I think I was watching The Bald and the Beautiful, which is a YouTube channel here, and they were reviewing Married at First Sight. And I don't know if you've ever seen Married at First Sight. Very good show. Anyway, they talked about how, anyway, in Married at First Sight, they match up couples and they meet at the aisle and get married, sight unseen. And the topic of kids came up, and someone said, when you're getting to know someone and you definitely want kids, and they say, I don't know, they say that you should err on the side of, no, I don't want kids. Kids is a big deal. And I don't know is also like a big deal. So if you know for a fact, like, I don't know if I want kids, you should probably err on the side of, no, I don't want kids. And I think that's so smart, rather than going into it and like trying to convince someone to have a child. If you don't know, then you don't know, but I'm going to assume that it's a no. Unless you give me a valid reason as to why you don't want them right now. You know, whether it's, oh, I want to wait a couple years or whatever it is. But if you're like, I don't know if I want kids, I'm going to assume that it's a no. Okay, anyway, back to Andrew and Amira. Jeez, I sound so nasally. Allergies. I hate allergies. Anyway, sorry about that. So Andrew and Amira, they're having this discussion about children. And Amira says that she does not want to have kids until her relationship with Andrew is in a good place. She's basically saying that they've been fighting a lot and she doesn't want to bring kids into a fighting relationship, which I think is very smart and very obvious. Kids don't fix things. It definitely exemplify or amplifies a situation. So if you and your partner are constantly fighting, kids might put a little button in it, but eventually it's all going to come out. And that's what she said. She said, I want to make sure that we're in a good place before we even consider having children. And Andrew, first of all, Andrew seemed shocked that she would even say a thing like that. But then he twisted around and somehow he heard, which I've covered before, that Andrew hears what he wants to hear. He has selective hearing, in my opinion. But somehow Andrew heard Amira say that he is not a good parent. And I'm just thinking, when did she say that? She says, we've been fighting. I mean, in the confessional, she's had said some things about him, but in this regard, she just said, we've been fighting and I want to be in a good place. And Andrew took that as, I'm going to be a bad parent. What? And then when he's talking to his mother later, he tells his mom, I'm not an angry person. And then in the same breath, he says, I have some things I need to work on. Amira is choosing the wrong words to say that you're angry, but you're admitting that you have things to work on. So obviously she's not 100% wrong, right? And then we find out that Amira did not get on the plane to come to America. And I'm just like, what? After all of that, sorry if you hear sirens. I'm like 2 minutes from a police station and a few minutes from a fire station. Wow, something serious must be going on. Sounds like it's almost right outside, but not really. Okay, I think it's calmed down. But yeah, Amira did not get on the plane, you guys. What in the world happened? I mean, obviously they had the fight about the children, but she always, anytime they have like a disagreement, she'll always send it or end it with like, but I love Andrew. So for her not to get on the plane, that is serious. Especially after being in Serbia for 2 weeks. You know, she's endured it for 2 weeks. She's been deported from Mexico. You know, she's gone through a lot for Andrew, and for her now not to be getting on the plane, something serious must have happened. Whew. Something serious must have happened. Oh my. Guess we'll find out next week or in my next recap. Coming soon. Tariq and Hazel. So when we see them, they have 7 days to get married. Like 7 days. On the 7th day, Lord rested. And Tariq and Hazel go out with his friend. I want to say her name is Angel or Angela. But they go out for brunch. They always look like they go to the best places to eat. Now I'm hungry. And Hazel looks pissed and sad, like she's sitting there disinterested in this conversation, and she reveals that Tariq has another friend. No, not Minty, but another friend who I believe is also from Thailand. And as of late, she has been ringing his phone constantly. What's going on, Tariq? Why is she ringing your phone? And his friend puts her foot in his tail and says, you need to quit it. Because why is your friend ringing all the time? Why are you picking up? And apparently Hazel voiced to him that this makes me uncomfortable, and it's still going on. It's not, and he tries to play, oh, it's a friend that I've had for a while. Yes, that's true, but y'all weren't this communicative before, so why all of a sudden does she feel the need to talk to you all the time? That's what I would like to know. That part I don't understand at all. But I think his friend makes him see the light, because later on he says that he realizes that, you know, that's not okay. So he does this really pretty thing where he's got his rose petals, gets chocolate and strawberries and candles, and he he re-proposes to Hazel, but he does it by getting down on one knee, and then he's like, hey, can I get my ring back real quick? And she takes it off, and then he re-proposes with the same ring. But that seemed to kind of get them both in the right headspace and be focused about this is where we are heading. And they seem to be in the right headspace of, okay, now we can get married because we feel like all issues have been squashed type of situation. So I think next episode we see them. I mean, it's 7 days. Obviously, they're getting married soon. But they are very close to walking down that aisle. Can't wait. Sorry, it's another fire truck. Sounds like they just turned somewhere. Wow, that's what, second fire truck? Wow. Whew. But yes, that is Tariq and Hazel getting ready to wed. Okay, that is the end of my recap for episode 14. So, what did you think of episode 14? Brennan and Julia were not in this episode. Obviously Mike and Natalie are donezo. Stephanie and Harris are moving some direction. Who knows? I don't even think they know. Well, Harris knows. His direction is he wants to get to the United States, and he has been very vocal about that, saying, what did he say? Rich people like Stephanie. He wants to get to the United States and take care of Stephanie. That's what he wants to do. Jovi and Yara. Jovi's doing same stuff, different day. Rebecca and Ziad, they are on crunch time. They need to get married. Who else did we have? Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, Andrew and Amira. Andrew's doing something. Amira's finally like, I've had enough. So I guess next episode, which is titled Please ignore me. Next episode is titled Love Me or Leave Me. Very fitting. But that is coming soon. I'm about to film it right now. So subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment below about episode 14. Okay, thank you. Bye.